Let's discuss now another depreciation method which is very similar to the working hours or service hours method dahil pareho silang variable charge or activity method, yung tinatawag na output or production method. Ang pinagkaiba nila ay kung sa working hours method, we compute for the depreciation rate per hour and multiply it by the actual number of hours worked for a period to get the depreciation expense for that period. Sa output or production method, ang dapat natin i-compute ay ang depreciation rate per unit na imumultiply sa actual units produced para makuha yung depreciation expense for a particular period. At dahil per unit ang rate na kailangan natin, dapat ang ipandidivide natin sa depreciable amount ay ang estimated useful life in terms of units of output. Using this same problem na ginamit natin to illustrate working hours method, how should we compute for the depreciation rate per unit? The depreciable amount is 630,000 pesos. That is acquisition cost of 650,000 minus residual value of 20,000. So 630,000 divided by the estimated useful life in terms of units of output, 210,000 units, and we get 3 pesos per unit. Para makuha yung depreciation expense for the first year, i-multiply natin ang actual working hours ng machinery for that period of 33,500 as given in the problem by this 3 pesos. And that gives us the amount of 100,500. Dahil wala pang balance ang accumulated depreciation before we make the adjusting entry to record the depreciation for the first year, pagkatapos nating gumawa ng entry, ang balance ng accumulated depreciation ay itong 100,500 din na depreciation expense. How about the carrying amount of the machinery at the end of the first year? The acquisition cost of 650,000 minus the accumulated depreciation of 100,500 equals 549,500. Sa mga susunod na taon, until the last year of the machinery's life, ganun lang uli ang procedure. Actual units of production as given in the problem multiplied by the depreciation rate per unit of 3 pesos to get the depreciation expense for a period. The depreciation expense for a period plus the unadjusted balance of the accumulated depreciation equals the adjusted balance of accumulated depreciation. The acquisition cost minus the adjusted balance of the accumulated depreciation equals the carrying amount at the end of the period. At the end of the useful life of the machinery, just like in the case of the working hours or service hours method, the carrying amount is equal to the residual value of 20,000. While the accumulated depreciation, which is the total depreciation expenses throughout the life of the machinery, is equal to the depreciable amount of 630,000 pesos. Otherwise, something must be wrong with our depreciation table. Notice also, tulad sa kaso ng service hours method, the depreciation expenses vary from year to year. Pwedeng tumaas, pwedeng bumaba from one period to another. Depende sa level of activity. Level of activity, meaning yung actual units of production. In the case of the output or production method, or the actual working hours of the fixed asset under the service hours method. Kaya ang dalawang depreciation methods na nabanggit, itong output or production method at yung nauna kong i-discuss sa previous part of this lecture series na working hours or service hours method ay tinatawag na variable charge or use factor or activity methods. Because the depreciation expenses vary from period to period. That's why the two methods are known as variable charge method of depreciation. Let's move forward to another method of depreciation, yung isa sa mga tinatawag na decreasing charge or accelerated methods. Decreasing charge, ibig sabihin, pababa ng pababa ang depreciation expense as the years pass by. Ang sum of years digits. Gamitin uli natin itong problem na to, where the estimated useful life of the machinery in terms of years is 7. This is the formula to compute for the sum of years digits. The useful life, as I just mentioned, is 7 years. So 7 plus 1 equals 8, divided by 2 equals 4, multiplied by 7 equals 28. Kung halimbawa man, makalimutan mo yung formula na to, there is another way to compute for this 28. And that is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. Hanggang 7 lang. Kasi ang useful life nga ng property ay 7 years. So 28 din ang total niya. Kaya nga tinawag to na sum of years digits. Sum of years digits. Kaya kung halimbawa maka-encounter ka ng problem na ang useful life ng property ay 10 years, then dapat ang computation ay 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. Okay? Gets? Ang problema nga lang, pag mahaba masyado ang useful life, halimbawa 25 or 30 years, sayang ang oras mo sa kapla-plus hanggang 25 or 30. Kaya mas okay kung kabisado mo itong formula na to. Just in case lang, makalimutan mo talaga to, then you can use this one. Okay? Or if you want to check kung tama yung computation mo using this formula, then you can do this alternative solution. Anyway, going back to this problem, itong 28 na na-compute natin ang magiging denominator ng mga fractions na imumultiply natin sa depreciable amount o depreciable cost na 630,000 para makuha natin ang depreciation expense bawat period. Kaya during the first year of the machinery's life, ang depreciable amount na 630,000 must be multiplied by the fraction 7 over 28. The 28, of course, came from this. But where did we get this 7? From the useful life of 7 years. So 630,000 times 7 divided by 28 equals depreciation expense amounting to 157,500. The accumulated depreciation must also be 157,500 dahil wala pang previous balance, dahil first year pa lang ng life ng machinery. And this 157,500 accumulated depreciation, when subtracted from the acquisition cost of 650,000, would give us 492,500 net book value or carrying amount of the machinery by the end of its first year. Sa second year, yung 630,000 must be multiplied by 6/28 to determine the depreciation expense for that period. Kasi dapat pababa ng pababa ang numerator natin. 7 sa first year, 6 sa second year, then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. From these computations, we can derive the depreciation expense for each of the remaining useful years of the machinery. The depreciation expense of 1 year plus the ending balance ng accumulated depreciation ng nakaraang taon equals the ending balance ng accumulated depreciation ng taon na yun. Yung dalawang paraan ng computation ng carrying amount ay kabisado mo na din at this point kung napanood mo ang discussion ko about the working hours at output methods. At may idea ka na din na tama ang ginawa nating table kapag nakita mo na sa katapusan ng 7 years na useful life ng machinery, ang carrying amount ay equal sa 20,000 na residual value. Ang accumulated depreciation at total ng depreciation expense column sa table ay equal sa depreciable amount na 630,000. In the next part of this lecture series, I will elaborate more on the sum of years digits method using this same problem but with an additional assumption. Thank you for watching.